Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to another Fallout 4 mod review. Today we have a nice little weapon mod combo, that being the BT-APC-9 and the MP9 by Subleader and the Campers. Now I know we just covered this in Mods Weekly, but I'd like to give it its own spotlight as there is a ton to offer in this mod, and now we can take a deep dive into every single little detail, including the multiple animation reloads, tactical reload support, as well as the plethora of attachments added. So for starters, in case you missed the Mods Weekly that this was featured in, this weapon can be added to the leveled list and it'll start spawning around level 20. That being said, if you don't want the leveled list patch, you can craft both of these at the chemistry station, or of course you can just spawn them in via the console. As with any modern weapon mod, this comes fully equipped with a bunch of cool custom animations, as well as a plethora of tactical attachments to customize these guys any way that you'd like. By default, both of these weapons come chambered in 10mm, but you can convert them to 38 or 45. And as mentioned earlier, this does have tactical reload support, meaning you get those alternate reloads depending on the status of the amount of rounds in your magazine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take this thing in-game and check out the stats for each of these weapons. For starters, when it comes to stats, we're going to check out the MP9, which has a base damage of 15, shoots 10mm rounds, has a fire rate of 159 as it is fully automatic, a range of 107, an accuracy of 76, a weight of 3.4 pounds, and a value of 1,347 caps, as this is going to be a pretty rare drop. Now it's important to note that when I check on these weapons, we do not have any perks on, so these are the raw stats of the weapon itself. Moving on to the APC-9, we have a base damage of 15 as well, also shooting 10mm rounds, has a fire rate of 172, a range of 95, an accuracy of 80, a weight of 5.6 pounds, and a value of 1,593 caps. Now let's move on to some of these new beautiful reloads, starting with the MP9. Now this thing does have tactical reload support, so let's start with a partially empty magazine. And then we have the full mag dump. Then we also have the quick reload attachment. Makes the reload much faster. And then finally, we do have a one-handed option for the MP9. So you can see it makes the recoil pretty crazy there. Now we move on to the APC-9, starting with the partially full magazine reload. Then the full reload, and then finally the quick reload attachment. Alright, moving on to the attachments for these guys. They are going to have some pretty similar pools of attachments, so I'll try my best not to be redundant when possible, but for this first weapon we'll go ahead and run through everything, starting with the receivers. One small note, it is important to see that these receivers are sorted by the spelling rather than the value of the receiver itself, so they're going to be a little bit out of order, but that's all right. So at the top here we have advanced, then automatic, automatic armor piercing, automatic hardened piercing, automatic powerful, calibrated, calibrated powerful, hair trigger, hardened, heavy frame, light frame, powerful, and standard, which is going to be the basic semi-auto variant. For muzzles, we have the standard muzzle brake, the bullet tech muzzle brake, also in gray and tan. We have the CQB muzzle brake, the VPO9 muzzle brake, the Claymore, the Hera, also in green, the Noveski, also in green and tan. We have the B&T suppressor, the GM9 suppressor, the Osprey suppressor, the SF suppressor long, and SF suppressor short. We do have a right rail here where we can add a flashlight with the M600V or the X300. We also have the PEC-15 laser sight or the DBAL laser sight, both of which provide a nice green laser. For stocks, we have the B&T unfolded and the B&T folded, which is just going to fold it to the side there. For sights, we have the Aimpoint Comp M4, the Aimpoint T1, T2, and T2 with riser, the Barska MRS, the Balomo PK06, the Elcan C79, which is a 4x, the Spectre DR, which is also a 4x. Then it's also available in the bronze coloring. We have the EOTech Holoscope, also with a magnifier, the Hollow Sun, the Leupold, the MBUS, which is your iron sight, the Sig Romeo 1, also available with a riser, the Trichicon ACOG, the Trichicon MRO, the Trichicon SRO, the Trichicon SRS, and then the Vortex UH1. For pistol grips, we do have a handful of options here. We have the standard B&T grip, the Daniel Defense, also in tan, the HK Battle grip in black and tan, the Hogue 15, also in black and tan, the Hogue Overmolded in black and tan, the Myad in black and tan, the MOE in black, the SIG also in black and gray and tan. For magazines, we have the standard magazine and the quick reload, which we saw earlier does change the animation a little bit to be similar to a quick eject mag. We do have some barrel options. We have the short, medium, and long barrels. We do have a lower rail where we can attach an AFG2 grip in black or tan, a BT grip, an FAB grip, KAC grip, the KAG grip in black and tan, the Mod 3 grip, also in tan, the RVG, the Tango grip, also in tan, and then finally the UVG grip. For the left rail, we do have more options for lasers and lights, the same ones that we saw on the right rail. We then have some conversions. Like I said earlier, you have the 10mm as standard, or you can drop it down to a 38 for reduced damage, or up to a 45 for increased damage. For sprint, we do have options to change the sprint animation to the tactical sprint. We can show that animation off here in a second. And then finally, we have some damage modifiers from negative 100% all the way up to a positive 100%. As we move on to the MP9, some of these attachments are going to be the same, but some will be nice and different. So starting with the receivers, these are all identical. These are the same set of receivers that you receive for the other weapon. For muzzles, though, we do have the standard muzzle or the B&T suppressor. We have a handguard option, though there is nothing there. Magazine, we get the quick reload as well. For sights, they are all the same as the other ones, so you have a nice assortment of sights. For the stock, we have the B&T unfolded, the B&T folded, and then the B&T folded one-handed, which is going to give you that cool new animation, but it's going to give you much worse recoil. We have the same conversions as before, and the same damage modifiers, but the one thing that this has that is different is some material swaps. So we have the standard black, the red menace, flat dark earth, and then the corpo, which looks mighty cool. Now, really quick before we move into those damage tests, I do have a couple more animations to show off, and that is the melee animation, which gives you a nice knife swing, and then the sprinting animations. We do have a standard sprint here, or you can opt in for the tactical sprint. And then finally, we're going to be moving on to the damage test. Now, since the damage of the MP9 and the APC9 are exactly the same, the ones that we use don't exactly matter, but they're going to have some upgrades. So starting with over here, we're going to have the base version of the weapon with no receiver, no damage modifiers whatsoever. Then we're going to move on to a modified MP9 that's going to have the highest damage automatic receiver, as well as the 45 caliber modification. And then over here, we're going to see the maximum possible damage you can get out of this thing by converting it to semi-automatic using 45 caliber with the best receiver, as well as getting the max rifleman perk, just to see what the literal top level of damage you can get out of this guy is. So, starting with the base version of the weapon, let's see how it does against a glowing Deathclaw. Now that's not too shabby, but it is going to burn through ammo pretty quickly. Let's try out that MP9. So this is the top of the line damage without any of those damage modifiers or perks. So you can see, big difference already. In just 2 magazines, it puts that Deathclaw down, making this a pretty viable weapon. Keeping in mind, no perks for that one. Alright, now this one we have in semi-automatic 45 caliber with full rifleman perk. Let's see how it does. And in just 6 shots with 45, it puts it down. Pretty nice for the late game. These are definitely some really viable weapons. So, that is the BT, MP9, and APC9. These are some really awesome little submachine guns, and definitely worth a download if you're into tactical modern weapons. And even if you're not, it might be worth a shot, as these things are really cool, and I could definitely argue the MP9 fitting Fallout style. Either way, if you want to try this thing for yourself, it will be linked down in the description below. And as always, if you want to try the mod out and you enjoy it, endorse it. show the author the appreciation for all of their hard work, and if you enjoyed this video, drop a rating. Subscribe if you haven't already for more videos just like this, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace! And really quick, I'd like to make a shout out to all of our patrons. Your donations are greatly appreciated and really help to support the channel and videos just like this one. So again, thank you.